Welcome to Cybersecurity Awareness TV, episode number 426, recorded April 7th, 2023. My name is Mac Jackson Jr. I am your cybersecurity consultant and researcher. If this is the first time you have seen our show here, I discuss cybersecurity news, interviews, and tips that you could use to protect yourself and your family from the fastest growing crimes of the 21st century. I'd like to thank everybody who's been part of our show over the years and from around the world. Everyone from even my students at DeVry University. I want to send a shout out to all my students who are listening to our show, and make sure you guys do your homework, all right? So also, if you'd like to find out more information about my show and about me, you can go to my website at macjacksonjr.com. That's macjacksonjr.com. Remember, folks, on social media, find me out there, share, like, and subscribe, and smash that notification button, folks. You can also find me on the Patreon at patreon.com/macjacksonjr. Folks, if you also like to be a part of our show, become a sponsor of our events here that we have here on WWDBTV, you can go to my website, and that's at macjacksonjr.com or VandersonCyberGroup.com, folks, Vanderson Cyber Group as well. In today's episode, we're talking about cyber news from around the world, the evolving landscape of cybersecurity. In our second segment, we will look into FBI warnings. In this FBI warnings, folks, we will definitely explore some things the FBI suggests that you should be concerned with, folks. We have definitely a doozy for you. And our third segment, we're talking about business productivity and security with my guest. Will be on our show, Natalie Denardo. She's an insurance broker from NND Agency. We'll be talking about cyber liability insurance. Yes, that's right, folks, cyber liability insurance. If you don't know what it is, as they say on the streets, you better ask somebody. All right, in our first segment, cybersecurity landscape from around the world. Cybersecurity, folks, what we try to do in our show is to bring stories from around the world and here in our nation states of things that are going on regarding cyber news that affects you and your business. Because we know that every day cyber hackers are trying to find ways to steal your personal information and your personal data. Here at Cybersecurity Awareness TV, we aim to educate the public and individuals on how to protect themselves from this type of rising crimes. We have brought countless stories over the years regarding ransomware, right? These ransomware attacks that have affected our schools here in Las Vegas, as well as internationally, such as in Asia, UK, and Australia. Well, folks, they're in the news again. Ransomware attacks, folks, affects all types of businesses, government agencies, organizations alike. But to hit ransomware within our school districts is tremendous, folks, because it affects not just the school itself having to try to pay the ransom, but affects the children. And that's right, folks, these hackers are looking to grab information to get credit in a third grader's name. Can you imagine a third grader owning a condo in Paris or somewhere around the world they've never ever been to? The parents have no idea. This is what's at stake when it comes to these type of cyber attacks. And these attacks are on the increase. The vulnerabilities from these cyber hackers are definitely increasing, and it's making it easier because a lot of companies are not realizing how easy it is for these type of cyber attacks, because the weakest link in all of this is a human element. These ransomware attacks with schools are definitely on the rise, and I'd like to highlight it by a story to bring to you from the Minnesota School District from WCCO TV. Check this one out.
Happening right now, Minneapolis public school administrators say that someone has posted data online following last month's cyber attack on the school district.
Investigative reporter Jonah Kaplan is getting some answers about what happened, what's at stake, and how you can better protect your private information.
Minneapolis Public Schools is not the first district under cyber attack, and it won't be the last. But that doesn't make it any less urgent. Though first described as a, quote, encryption event nearly 2 weeks ago, a video posted online Tuesday suggesting MPS as the latest victim of ransomware. Hackers stealing sensitive information and threatening to release it unless their hostage pays up.
I can tell you the FBI has provided guidance to organizations that they discourage payment because it encourages further activity and additional attacks.
Minnesota's Chief Security Officer John Israel confirming the group claiming responsibility for the MPS MPS attack, Medusa, was the subject of an FBI alert last summer. MPS administrators declining our request for an interview and also choosing not to answer our emailed questions. A brief statement instead saying in part the district is reaching out to those affected by the potential data breach.
I think these investigations are evolving. They take time. It takes time to figure out exactly what's involved. But I would anticipate some additional information and guidance coming from MPS.
According to state officials, investigators looked into more than 1,000 cybersecurity incidents last year in Minnesota, including more than 100 counties, dozens of schools and universities, as well as municipalities. International Falls School District was also attacked by ransomware just 1 week into the school year.
Not knowing is the concern, because we were never, like I say, they never came out and said, here are the 5 things we got that are going to be bad. It was all threats. We can put this on the dark web.
NPS administrators tonight also telling us they've reported this incident to police and they're working with their online host company to take down the information posted as soon as possible, Frank.
Jonah, it's a big school district. It can affect a lot of people. What can people do to kind of better protect themselves and their private information?
These are all great lessons for everyone, whether you're affected or not. The first being password hygiene. Pick words that are not so memorable. Also, two-factor authentication. Finally, updates, patches. Make sure your software you have, again, up to date. And finally, don't go phishing with a PH there. Beware of emails. If you don't recognize it, don't open it. Frank?
Yeah, helpful. All right, Jonah, thank you.
Folks, as a cybersecurity consultant, I would like to share several recommendations that are pervasive that schools are utilizing in strategies to protect themselves and defend against this type of ransomware attacks. One, they need to raise the cybersecurity awareness with their staff members within the school, meaning that they need to learn their roles and responsibilities, not to click on emails, we understand that they recognize, but also, folks, be very, very careful of smartphones too. Hackers are utilizing smartphones to get into your personal information. The school systems, school districts are, and some of them need to do more of implementing robust security measures in place by investing more in cybersecurity solutions like increasing the security on their firewalls, antivirus software, and intrusion detection prevention. Secondly, regular backups, backing up their data on a regular basis. But folks, it's more than just backups. We need to have fire drills. So remember we were at school in second grade, we had fire drills? Yes, and now they're doing active shooter alerts as well. Well, the same thing needs to be done when it comes to cyber. We need to have actually fire drills relating to their data backup systems. They need to be able to make sure that the backups that they're doing are valid by doing proper restores. And these are just some of the things, but a lot more. A lot of schools are doing this, but not just schools, even individuals. We should do this as well. I have another story I'd like to report to you coming from Minneapolis from KARA 11 News.
Nearly 2 weeks after tech issues began at Minneapolis Public Schools, the district is now saying private information was stolen from its computer system.
And the hackers claiming responsibility have posted some of it online. Sammy Salina has more on what parents should do. Sammy?
So cybersecurity experts say this has the markings of a ransomware attack, although the district has never used those terms. Now, parents tell me that they're trying to keep an extra eye on their bank accounts and information.
2 weeks since Minneapolis Public Schools first notified parents about what they called an encryption event, a district released a new statement yesterday, now saying that a threat actor who claimed responsibility posted some of the data they accessed online.
It's up to all of us to try to stay secure enough to where we don't have bad things happen to us as a result of it.
Cybersecurity expert Bryce Austin says they're trying to extract money from Minneapolis Public Schools.
They have also put up a video online that shows snippets of the data itself.
Austin said it's important families keep an eye on their accounts.
I would strongly consider freezing your credit and the credit of your minor children. Consider putting a fraud alert on any bank accounts or credit cards that were known by the school district. It's important to look after your healthcare records. Finally, any passwords that you had to any sort of Minneapolis Public School District system, you have to assume that they were compromised. you need to change them all.
I'm watching what's happening on our digital accounts and making sure that there's no suspicious activity.
Mom Krista Kelly says she's staying vigilant.
Also keeping my eye out for any phishing emails that might come through.
She's glad the district alerted parents, but says some are still worried about safety.
Extremely frustrating and sad that anyone would attack a public school system, but unfortunately, I think it's just the reality of the world that we live in.
In their latest statement, the district said it is working with experts to see who is affected. They're also asking that if you receive a suspicious email or phone call that you think may be related to this, to contact them. Chris?
Folks, as a recap for this week's news, I would like to refer you guys to one of the clips that we like to bring every now and then from a company called AI Joe from Cyber News. It's really interesting. Now, with the clip you're going to see, it's all generated by an avatar. The person that you're going to see in this next clip doesn't exist, but it looks like a real person, like you're seeing me here. I think I'm real for you right now. I'm not an avatar yet, but the other clip I will show you will be an avatar. But what we're going to do in this clip is review for you this week's news, and it has to do with Ferrari. Ferrari got hacked. That's right, folks, Ferrari. The hackers were able to hack into the Ferrari account and were able to get access to the owners of Ferrari's bank account information and credit cards. Now, you know, if you own a Ferrari, more likely you have a pretty good bank account. Well, of course, this caused the hackers to actually go after these type of groups for information and for monies. And the other one that happened this week is the NBA. That's right, folks. The National Basketball Association, they even got hacked. It's crazy out there what hackers are doing, because that information that hackers were able to find in the databases worth valuable amount of money in the dark net. There are bad guys out there that will buy it, and they'll pay with Bitcoin cryptocurrency so they can't be traced. And those are things we have to protect ourselves from. So, with further notice, we would like to show you this clip from AI Joe from Cyber News.
Hi, I am Joe, your AI-generated newscaster. Let's go over last week's news from the cyber world. Let's start from Breach Forums, the notorious dark web-based hacker forum I have talked about several times. It went offline after the arrest of Connor Brian Fitzpatrick, also known as Pompurin. The FBI arrested him on March 15th. So far, Fitzpatrick was charged with trying to sell unauthorized access devices. However, more charges can be added before the case goes to court on March 24th. Fitzpatrick was one of the main administrators of breach forums, where cybercriminals often exchange stolen data. Other admins of the forum said they will keep the resource up, but the forum went down soon after, so their promise did not last long. NBA, the National Basketball Association, sent an email to its fans saying that a data breach has occurred. A third party gained access to the names and email addresses of NBA fans. No passwords or other sensitive data was stolen, the organization said, but it warned that criminals may use the stolen data to conduct phishing attacks. The NBA urged the fans not to share confidential information via email or open any files received from suspicious senders, something you should do even if your data was not leaked. An investigation into the breach was also started, and the association said it doubled down on cybersecurity to prevent further incidents. Ferrari, the Italian luxury cars manufacturer, had a very bad week. It admitted that its customer data was leaked and that an unknown threat actor is demanding ransom for it. Names, addresses, phone numbers, and other personal data of Ferrari customers appears to have been stolen. Knowing the price of these cars, we can guess that those customers are, let's say, not your ordinary middle-class car enthusiasts. Ferrari said that it refused to collaborate with the criminals and pay ransom. Instead of that, the company notified its customers about the attack. We will see what consequences this will have. Another data breach occurred to Lionsgate Entertainment Corporation, the company which owns many popular franchises such as The Terminator, The Hunger Games, and The Twilight Saga. Cyber News researchers found 20 gigabytes of Lionsgate server logs leaked through an open Elasticsearch instance. The logs contained IP addresses, watch history, and other data on the users of Lionsgate's streaming service. The leak has since been patched up, but Lionsgate is yet to issue an official response on the incident. Meanwhile, Hitachi Energy, a subsidiary of the well-known Japanese engineering giant, has joined the list of companies hacked by the infamous CL0P, or CLOP, gang. A third-party system containing employee data was breached, according to Hitachi. Clop attacks claimed a number of large companies in recent weeks, from international giants like Shell to cybersecurity firms like Rubik. Hitachi and law enforcement are now working to investigate the issue. Data about thousands of workers from all across the world may have been leaked, but it appears the breach did not include customer data. So, here's your recap of this week's cyber news. If you want to learn more about each of these cases, find the links to full videos in the description. And I will see you soon.
Well, folks, like we always said, cyber crimes and criminals, they're always trying to find ways to exploit individuals and companies in business. And we must stay vigilant. We must remember, folks, to share information you've seen on this show with your family and friends. The more of us know about these things, how to protect ourselves, the harder it will be for hackers to try to exploit our information, exploit our data. If you'd like to find out more, I've written a couple of articles and white papers on my blog that you can find at macjacksonjr.com/max-blog. It's on a Professor Max blog. This week's article was on the casino and hospitality industry, how AI is being used to mitigate cyber crimes. As we always say, folks, on this show, hashtag stay cyber woke, folks. We'll be back after these messages. Hello, folks. This is Mac Jackson Jr. from Vanderson Cyber Group. The problem with businesses today is that they are affected by cyber attacks from around the world, but companies are not sure of what to do. Normally, they are reactive instead of proactive. But folks, cyber attacks can affect your bottom line, and it will affect you financially, legally, and your business reputation. Here at Vanderson Cyber Group, we can help you develop a policy by training your employees on what to do if they are involved in a cyber attack and how to mitigate it and fight against it. Folks, we call it here hashtag stay cyber woke. And that's Vanderson Cyber Group here in Las Vegas and around the world. You can reach me, folks, at vandersoncybergroup.com or my website, macjacksonjr.com as well. Here locally, 702-868-0808. Give us a call today, folks. We must fight back. Hey folks, welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I am your host, Mac Jackson Jr. In this segment, we're discussing the FBI warnings this week regarding cyber crimes committed by cryptocurrency. That's right, folks. There's a lot of crypto scams that are going on. The FBI have issued a warning to the public regarding a growing prevalence of crypto scams following their recent announcement and seizures of exceeding over $100 million in illicit funds. That's right, folks. The FBI was able to get back over $100 million in illicit funds from scammers that are trying to get people to buy in fake cryptocurrencies. So the FBI warns everybody to definitely be vigilant, do your due diligence, make sure you vet these organizations before you invest your money into these types of scams. $100 million, folks, that's a lot of money that was able to be recovered. Just think about the rest of the money that weren't able to be recovered. And if you're a listener to our show, we've done stories about victims who have lost $250,000 that can never be recovered because of these types of scams that are going on. To continue this story, we have a story to report for you from NBC News. Check this out.
The first contact came through a message on Twitter.
Asked me about some questions related to my research, just like casual conversation. That's how it started.
Soon, the woman's chats with the man we're calling John, a highly educated cancer researcher, turned to investing in cryptocurrencies. He asked us to disguise his identity.
As a scientist, as a PhD, you're naturally curious, and especially when you talk about how much money you can make, I got sort of hooked.
Urged on by his new friend, John began wiring money to a website that looked identical to a real-life online investing platform, and it seemed like he was making a fortune. But when he was unable to withdraw a large sum, he realized that something was wrong.
At that point, how much had you invested?
More than half a million, about $560,000.
Wow. And what portion of your wealth did that represent?
Such everything I have.
John was one of the latest victims in a sophisticated online scam known as pig butchering, which comes from a Chinese term for fattening a hog for slaughter. The gangs that carry out this scheme are largely based overseas, mainly in Southeast Asia. The FBI says Americans have lost billions of dollars to these cons, and usually the money is unrecoverable. But tonight, the Justice Department is announcing the seizure of more than $100 million stolen in pig butchering scams, possibly including some of John's money. It's the first seizure of its kind, the result of a new focus by federal authorities on tracking cryptocurrency.
We figured out where these accounts were and that there was funds from victims that went through various stops to get to these accounts, and then we seized the accounts from the institutions where they were being held.
Young Choi directs the Justice Department's Crypto Enforcement Unit. She says the DOJ has learned how to use sophisticated software to track ill-gotten crypto and then grab it.
That's a bad day for the crooks.
It is a bad day for the crooks. We think we're raising the costs of their doing business in this manner and preying on the United States public.
Another victim we're calling Eugene, also a scientist, was lured into the con by a real person, someone he knew from graduate school. The scammers strung him along slowly, showing statements with huge gains, even letting him withdraw thousands of dollars. He and his wife quit their jobs, liquidated their retirement funds, and borrowed from friends, eventually forking over more than $5.2 million.
That's all my saving all my life. My first day of start until now, my weight dropped like more than 20 pounds. I just could not eat and sleep.
But then Eugene got amazing news.
FBI agent in charge of my case, they traced the money and they tracked down the money and they find the money.
The Justice Department is now working to return Eugene and John some of their money.
We're really looking forward to working with victims to try to get them their funds back.
Authorities say the chances of that happening improve if victims report it right away.
What's your message to a victim who feels so embarrassed by this they don't want to tell anyone?
You're not alone. There are hundreds and thousands of you out there. You might think, how could I have fallen victim to this? But we've seen it happen again and again.
It's a reminder of the age-old truism.
If an investment sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
All right, Ken Delanian joins us tonight from Washington. Ken, I have a couple questions for you. I want to start with this pig butchering process, that process where the scammers, quote, unquote, fatten up the victim by taking more of their money. Is this done over a long period of time?
Yes, this is a long con, Tom. Typically, it begins with someone reaching out over social media, often an attractive potential romance partner. The new friend will slowly introduce the victim to what seems like an amazing investment opportunity in cryptocurrency. And usually the target starts small, and they're allowed to withdraw some of their earnings at first, and that convinces them that this investment is real and they should send more money. And often these victims are picked because they're at a vulnerable time in their lives, having gone through like a death or a divorce. And the scammers use fake websites made to look like real cryptocurrency platforms. The victims usually believe for months that they've made a fortune until the day they realize they can't get access to their money.
And Ken, you know, in the report, you mentioned these scams start overseas. Sometimes when that happens, right, there's a language barrier or a tell. Something is written in a strange manner. Usually it tells the person who's being scammed, wait a minute, this is strange. Is this more sophisticated? Are they getting the language part right, and then from there they're off to the races?
It's a little of both, Tom. We're told that sometimes the pitches are crude because the scammers are using language translation programs, because some of the people making these pitches are themselves being forced to do it by an organized criminal gang. And that can be a tell. But sometimes the victims are immigrants whose first language is not English, as was the case with the two people we interviewed. So they may not detect those grammar mistakes. And other times the scammers are very sophisticated and speak English perfectly. When you think about the enormous sums of money they're stealing here, they have a lot of resources to bring to bear. The bottom line here is that if you want to invest in crypto, you should not do it through someone you met online, Tom.
Yes, folks. So these incidents highlight how the importance of cybersecurity awareness and understand the prevalence of these types of scams. Folks, definitely keep track of these types of scams by listening to our show here and also contacting the FBI as well. Their website also will let you know of all the types of important scams that you should be aware of. We all must stay vigilant, folks, from these types of cyber hackers. As we say every week on our show, folks, hashtag stay cyber woke. We'll be back after these messages.
Hi, I'm George Miklos.
Hi, I'm Rick Upchurch.
Hi, I'm Aaron Phillips, and we are
The Roundtable.
Check us out.
Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific Time Live.
On Facebook page as well as WWDBTV.
Hi, I'm Judy Morio. I invite you to watch my show, What's Your Story with Judy Mario on WWDBTV, where I interview celebrities, doctors, authors, professional speakers, and just plain folks like you and me. So watch my show and also watch some of the other great shows that we have here on WWDBTV, and you can also find us on Roku.
Hello and welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Mac Jackson Jr. And I wanted to welcome a guest of mine on our show today to discuss one of the prevailing problems in businesses today, thinking that they have enough insurance relating to cyber. I want to bring on insurance agent Natalie Denardo with the NND agency to discuss cybersecurity insurance. Natalie will share with us her expertise and the importance of cyber liability insurance and how you can use it to mitigate from financial losses and reputational risk associated with cyber attacks. Natalie, welcome to our show.
Thanks, Matt.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Also, Natalie and I are both BNI members. We've got a little plug for our little BNI group as well. And I want to invite Natalie on our show to talk about cyber liability insurance. So tell the audience a little bit about what your business is and
Absolutely. So I own NND Agency Inc. It is a insurance agency, commercial agency located right here in Nevada. Also expands to 12 other states.
Nice.
Very heavy in the commercial arena. So we sell a lot of general liability, professional liability, workman's comp, and cyber.
And cyber.
We sell cybersecurity insurance. So we're based right here in Nevada. I'm the agency owner. I have Victoria who works for me, and we handle everything from start to finish, right in-house.
Absolutely. Very, very good. So I have a few questions from our viewers that are wanting to know about cyber liability insurance.
Awesome.
And what is it and the differences between regular general liability and E&O and that good stuff. So I guess my first question would be is, can you tell the audience what does cyber liability insurance and what does it cover?
Sure. So cyber liability insurance is going to cover if you have a data breach. So let's say, unfortunately, you open up a phishing email and they get a hold of all of your clients' information, all their personal information, all the information that you hold near and dear and you want to protect. This insurance is going to protect that type of a breach. So it is not something that would be covered in your normal general liability policy or your E&O. It is a separate policy.
Interesting. Okay. Let's see. And the differences between general liability and cyber?
Sure. So your general liability is going to cover your business and what your business is doing, and if there's a personal or advertising injury, if you get caught for slander or something of that nature, your cyber insurance policy is going to be on top of the general liability. So the cyber is going to cover just that, those breaches. It is in addition to the general liability, is not covered under your general liability. And then your professional is, of course, going to cover what you do professionally. So there are 3 different policies. Need to be purchased 3 different ways.
So it's like having, correct me if I'm wrong here, it's like having homeowners insurance for your house, and we live in Las Vegas. If we had an earthquake here, your house may not be covered.
Correct. You need an earthquake policy on top.
Even though your house was.
Correct.
You have a
That's right. Same thing with flood.
Or flood,
Don't get
right?
caught with a flood without flood insurance.
You have to have flood insurance.
You have to have it.
You just can't say regular home insurance.
That's right.
Yes.
Unless your house floods by a toilet, then you'll be okay. But Mother Nature, you have to have that policy.
You hear that, folks? That's very, very good. So make sure you check out your policies. If you don't understand how it works, definitely give Natalie a call.
Happy to help.
So next question. What are some common cybersecurity risks that businesses face, and how does general liability insurance protect them against it?
Well, your general liability is not going to cover your cyber threat. So you need to have a cyber policy on its own. And you can actually piggyback a cyber liability policy on top of your general. Sometimes we can build them to where they're in the same policy, or you have to purchase your own individual cyber policy on its own. So we do sell them standalone. And they're going to cover like your threats if you open an email, if your employee opens an email that they shouldn't have opened, if you didn't maybe properly back everything up, and your computers get hacked and then they're holding your client data as ransom. That's another area where they're going to help and try to come in and protect you.
That's very good, Natalie, because we talk about ransomware in the show a lot, and people are not they don't understand that ransomware is keeping your information hostage, just like if you were to have ransom on an individual. Have insurance, right? You're basically talking about your data.
It's the same.
Now.
I mean, it's the same.
It's really,
they're holding your business hostage.
Hold your business hostage. Absolutely. Next question: how does businesses can calculate the appropriate amount of cyber liability insurance that you're covered for?
That's a great question. So that's actually something we would go over in great detail to figure out what your gross receipts are and how much your business is actually generating and really what your risk is. I mean, are you using computers on a daily basis? Are you taking credit cards as a form of, services for payment? It really just depends on the business. Somebody that has client confidentially information like a hospital, like a credit card merchant service, someone who has information that's very, very, very important that your cyber criminals want, they're always going to be more at threat, but sometimes the little guys are too. I mean, everyone really is a target. It is the #1 crime in America right now.
Yeah, it really is. It's really crazy, folks.
Yes.
All things that are going on. So there are any specific industries that this business type of are there any businesses, industries that are more susceptible to cyber attacks for this insurance, do you think?
I don't think that anybody is more or less. I really just think it's what they're going after, and that's the whole issue, is we don't know who they're going after. They're just going after anyone that they can get a hold of, and they have these little seeds that they plant, and they really just see who bites. And sometimes people don't open the emails now. Sometimes they accidentally open them.
Yes.
Sometimes we're in a rush. It's a business day. We're trying to do all the things, right? And sometimes we just don't pay attention, and that's usually when it happens. So I think really anyone and everybody could be at risk, and you really just need to review your policy and make sure you're covered properly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what about companies that buy cyber liability insurance and they were thinking, okay, great, now we're covered. Can they be negligent as well and not do their due diligence?
Absolutely. I mean, if they're not doing proper backups, if they don't have the proper IT going through all the steps, it's more than just buying the policy. It's proper training with your employees. It's proper training with yourself. It's having the appropriate backups. It's having the, all of the things.
Yes.
It's checking every single box. If you have the insurance in place and you're doing all the right things, it's just a way to really help protect yourself. Somewhere where cyber is not going to help is if you voluntarily give the information away, or if you already have an existing claim, the insurance isn't going to help on that.
How long does it usually take for someone's had an existing claim can they possibly get insurance afterwards, or does it?
It would really depend on the length of the claim and what happens. It's not so much having let's say they had a claim and now they decide to buy insurance. The cyber insurance is not going to cover the pre-existing claim.
Pre-existing injuries.
Yes, think of it just like medical insurance. It's really the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're probably more strict with them too as well, right? Before they can have a new policies to make sure they have all the due diligence in place.
Absolutely.
Before you would take them on, which definitely would make sense.
Yeah, there's an entire worksheet that we have to go through to see what kind of proper items they have in place to really avoid becoming a risk.
Excellent, excellent. See, folks, that's why I want to have industry professionals in this business to talk about cyber liability insurance. We'll bring it to you on our show here about it, but we want to bring someone that's expert in it as well to validate what we're talking about as well, to make sure that you guys understand the importance of having this type of insurance policies in place. Natalie, what tells the audience how to get a hold of you?
Sure, you can actually call us. We're local, so our number is 702-410-7869. You can also find us on Facebook. You can find us on just regular internet, www.nndagency.com, or just look up Natalie Denardo and I'll pop up all over the place.
Great. You also mentioned that you're in how many other states?
12.
So you can actually provide the insurance in 12 other states?
Yes.
Okay. You want to tell them the states, or you want to say?
Sure. So it's, of course, Nevada, California, Arizona, Utah. We're in New York and Texas. We are in Pennsylvania, Florida, North Carolina, if I didn't already say that.
Nope.
I might have left a few out. I'll be sure to get you the list. But yes, we're in several states.
And we're all over the world here. So I let you know, folks, if you need cyber liability insurance, definitely contact Natalie as well. No matter 11 states she's in right now, and I'm sure going for more of them as well. That she can get you covered in as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
Well, you know what I'd like to do, since we are both a B and I would like to also have one of our friends to join us.
Oh, we have a friend.
Yes. Chelsey?
Yay!
Yes, Chelsey's also one of our B&I members as well. Chelsey, tell a little bit about your business also, what you do in your business.
I own 88 Design Studio. I do branding design as well as social media design as well as print, but mostly just branding.
Excellent. And your phone number, your website?
It's 702-525-3334, and then my website is www.8designstudio.com.
All right, very good.
Yay!
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you for the plug.
Thank you, Chelsey. Appreciate that. Folks, we thank you again for joining us here at Cybersecurity Awareness TV, and we want, as we do every week, to bring information to you about cyber crimes and how to protect yourself. So I want to thank Natalie for being a part of our show. this week and everything. And thank John and everyone at WWDBTV. And folks, like we say every week, hashtag stay cyber woke. We will catch you next week, folks. See you then.